I ended my last video at Guardians of the Galaxy number 20, where Vance Astro, who doesn't need his containment suit anymore and is going by Major Victory, led the Guardians against the turf wars of Earth and a secret Badoon plot. So with Jim Valentino still doing whatever he does, Jim Montano on inks, and Evelyn Stein on colors, let's keep going with Guardians of the Galaxy number 21. It begins with Rancor searching for Wolverine in Madripoor, cause she thinks he's still alive. Over in New York, the Guardians are going about their usual drama. Talon turns down Nikki's advances, Yondu turns down Terran's advances, and Vance laments after training that he is finally able to have a real relationship with Alita, but she was now reabsorbed into Starhawk. To break up their Dawson's Creek mundanity, they receive an anonymous message showing Rancor, and they head to Madripoor to stop her. Elsewhere in the cosmos, Starhawk fully absorbs Alita, but now has the powers of darkness, similar to Alita's light constructs, except, well, evil and dark. The Guardians actually hold their own against Rancor's crew this time, before Starhawk appears and basically says, "Screw y'all, I'm evil now." But Alita actually takes control to show that she can actually hurt Stakar. In the whole mix, Rancor and her crew escape, but then they do get caught up with, and they all fight again. But Rancor's crew mysteriously teleports away. They ask Dark Starhawk, but nope, he knows nothing, as usual. We do get that there may be some impending doom coming, but the Guardians go down to the Commandeer's headquarters, which is now the Guardians HQ basically. While there, Alita tries to have a talk with Vance, but since she's trapped within Starhawk's body, he really doesn't want to talk about their relationship since it can't really be a thing. Yondu and Talon have a talk also, with Talon showing that he has a little mystic ability, but was too wild for formal education. Culture Corner time. Yondu's fin is called a Tale, and it is in fact a crest. It's not proper to discuss what it represents, if you know what I mean. Cause I sure as hell don't know what it means, since the chick Centaurian had the same size mohawk. Yeah, how big was her dick? Then, after Nikki and Charlie have another moment about their ex-relationship, the Commandeers call them to the monitoring room, where the Silver Surfer has been detected. Exposition dump time. Silver Surfer was one of the last defenders of Earth during the War of the Worlds alongside Captain America, Franklin Richards, and Dr. Doom. Yet Eon convinced Silver Surfer that Earth was destined to be conquered anyways. After centuries, he became the Guardian of the Universe and put on the quantum bands. Okay, we're all caught up. So Silver Surfer is riding along, heading to Earth to warn them about the coming of Galactus. But due to the events of Silver Surfer Annual number 4, where he was mean to the Guardians, they attack him without question. Talon is actually the one that goes, "Hey, shouldn't we hear him out?" And they do. We hear the tale of how Dargo, a future Thor, the future Thor, technically the past Thor, but I talk about him in the last video, Firelord and Silver Surfer banded together 500 years ago to stop Galactus eating Earth, leading to Nova's death. While they were fighting, however, Zen-La, the Surfer's homeworld, exploded. The Surfer blamed Galactus because he was too distracted by Galactus, and ever since has been using the power cosmic and the quantum bands to empty the planets that Galactus was going to eat. But he was fooled. Galactus is actually heading to the Centauri system. Surfer and the Guardians then speed off to stop him. In Guardians number 25, after more of Surfer's life story, we finally reach Galactus, but Firelord is already there trying to stop him, which, who could have guessed, goes poorly for him. Charlie, Talon, and Starhawk pop on some really vintage-looking spacesuits to go out to try the best they can to fight Galactus. Talon actually does some decent damage with magic, though the Ancient One pops up astrally to say, "You shouldn't use that level of magic." But Nikki uses her heat to restore Firelord, and Firelord goes back into the fight hardcore. Meanwhile, Yondu and Vance have a talk about Yondu needing to go to his people, who are all still alive on a different planet. Vance gives him one of the communicator stars so he can teleport to that planet, leaving the Guardians. Back fighting Galactus, Charlie rips off one of Drydoc's main cannons and shoots at Galactus, but it's ineffective. Galactus swats the air in front of them, and Charlie and Talon are launched into space, saved only by Dark Starhawk, with Alita as the dominant personality if you want to keep score, but then teleported back to the ship so the next level powers of Starhawk and Firelord can go full blast against Galactus, to the same effect as before. Nada. That is, until Silver Surfer finally emerges, as large as Galactus. Everyone else gets back onto the ship as Eon returns to tell Silver Surfer that it is not Galactus' death that will save the day. Keeper, Silver Surfer's current name now, actually uses his power to feed Galactus, becoming the harbinger of life to his bringer of death. Neat. So Eon now has Silver Surfer solely on Galactus duty, so Firelord goes back into being protector of the universe. Nikki, who's been trying to get into Firelord's flaming pants all day, still gets rebuked. Oh, and Yondu is reunited with his people as a good way to wrap off one hell of a tale for him. Whew. Issue 26 is about Talon and Nikki looking through the last of Vance's docu-chips, which are basically holocrons, just don't sound as cool. All about the origins of the Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of. We get Charlie 27 and Martin X meeting, though I think they added a little racial issues in here. And we also get how Yondu and Vance met, with Yondu trying to rip his heart out. But overall, this is just a welcome to the series issue, a perfect hopping on point from 1992. So 23 years later than when it originally started, but hey, better late than never. Really, the big thing about this issue, though, is that after they're done watching the inspirational docu-chip, Starhawk enters to tell them that they are going to go back in time and stop the Badoon before the big invasion ever happened, without Vance's knowledge. And that follows right into the next issue, where Major Victory is very much against this plan, even pointing out that Starhawk isn't even on the team anymore, so this is totally loony. But they're already on course and already in the 20th century, so he's already out of options. But Talon barges into the room and then collapses. He's dying and needs to be taken to Adelan, on the blue area of the moon. Yeah, apparently Talon is also an Inhuman, as well as a magician. Neat. We cut to Adelan and the royal court. You know, Black Bolt, Medusa, Gorgon, Karnak, and those people. If you don't know who they are by now, well then Perlmutter's Inhuman push has failed, and there is hope for the future. Anyways, the Guardians beam to present-day Adelan, though the royal court feels like it could be a ruse to blow them up. Since the Infinity War event is going on at this time, no, it has nothing to do with the movie. As is the norm, don't you know, we get a fight. But Vance uses his psionic blast to stop the fighting so they can get a word in edgewise, and Talon gets taken to the medical center, while the attack on Four Freedoms Plaza, the Fantastic Four's HQ after the Baxter Building was destroyed, is told to the crew of the Captain America, before sudden random evil doppelgangers of everyone attacks. The good guys win in spectacular time, and Talon heals up with a fun gag with Lockjaw. Then we get the history of the Inhumans up to the 31st century, where they were enslaved and put into a reservation under an Inhuman-run Adelan, and the only reason Talon escaped was because he was trained by the Sorcerer Supreme. Of course, this is to set up the traitor is a royal, but not an Inhuman. However, with that random tie-in issue to the current cosmic absurdity that was Infinity War, they go back to their ship and go to Avengers Mansion for another tie-in to Infinity War. Yep. Issue 28 is Dr. Octopus and his random band of, God, none of them are anything more than a C, maybe a B if you're a fan. I mean, Oddball? Jackhammer? Powder Keg? Even I don't know who the hell Powder Keg is, and that's kind of my job. Actually, I love the explanation for why Doc Ock is with these guys, because they're dumber and easier to lead than the main Sinister Six. Oddly nice continuity. Anyways, these guys are going to attack Avengers Mansion because supposedly the explosion at Four Freedoms Plaza killed all the heroes. But of course that's not the case. So this tie-in is the Guardians of the Galaxy versus these, I don't even want to call them third-raters. However, Ock actually gets through the defenses of Avengers Mansion to let some more bad guys in. And sidebar, Starhawk fights his evil space doppelganger again, which could probably be interesting if I knew more about the Infinity War event. After the Guardian of the Galaxy second annual, which showed Martin X forming the Galactic Guardians with Wonder Man, Firelord, and a bunch of others that I'm sure I'll be talking about soon enough, we get the second part of the tie-in, where, while fighting off the new baddies, suddenly doppelgangers of both sides poof in to fight. So the C-list baddies and the Guardians team up to fight them. Then the C-listers find out Ock's a dick and chase him off while the Guardians leave Jarvis to clean up the mess. Oh, and Alita, if you remember her, is now the body and main mind in Starhawk, though she may have gone a bit insane with power. As for the next issue, number 30 is the big I quit from Vance. I mean, look at that cover! Vance can't stand by a preemptive strike against the Badoon, since they're talking full genocide. So they basically leave Vance on Earth to go kill the species. On Earth, Vance finds a prototype interstellar radio and actually sends the Badoon a message to warn them. I kinda really wish that there was more than 2 panels to make this decision to really add to the weight of it, but this has always been a fast-moving series, so I could see why the choice kind of works. But his signal also has a strange energy attached to it, and when it reaches the male Badoon homeworld, it shocks the receiver and transports unlimited power into the random guy. That might come up and bite someone in the butt later. Then we get the rest of the Guardians who are in danger of being detected because Takara and Alita are fighting over the corporeal body. So they take it outside and vanish screaming into space. So that leaves 3 people on this ship now ready to strike against the entirety of the species of the Badoon. And somewhere in there we get a shock, I hate the Badoon because they killed everyone I know, as though it wasn't the basis for every other Guardian's backstory. Shrug. The issue ends with Vance sighing and brooding around Avengers Mansion before Captain America is there to help a friend out. Yeah, they really brushed off Infinity War fast in this series, but don't worry, a binge shall come of that. Issue 31 has Cap and Vance training together, with Cap teaching him some better ways to use his shield, before being interrupted by Dr. Druid. Wow, there's an Avengers member that every kid listening's gonna know. Anyways, Dr. Druid tells them that they must keep their shields separated for the preservation of reality. Yeah, they pull a time cop with the two shields, but Dr. Druid pretty much instantly fixes it by polarizing them so they can never actually touch. Wow, that was almost needlessly pointless. Though, okay, it adds universe building because Marvel loves their continuity and how they handle divergent timelines and universes. I really should put a troll face up when I say that. Back with the other Guardians, the Brother Royal, the leader of the Badoon, shares some space FaceTime with them to issue a challenge. Their best warrior versus the best fighter in the Guardian. Winner takes all. So in the follow-up issue, we have Charlie 27 versus a Badoon in the Captain Universe outfit. Lifeform thing. Captain Universe is a weird, extremely OP spirit thing that basically gives the possessed wearer day one pre-order bonuses. Was that too snarky? Either way, that means we get an issue of Charlie checking into the SmackDown hotel, while Vance and Doctor Strange travel through the dark dimension so he can reach his crew members to try and stop them. Oh, and a plot point for later, Charlie tries using the sacred knife that Yondu gave him before leaving to try and kill Captain Universe, but it fails, with the Brother Royal being given the knife instead. This story is concluded in the next issue where everyone goes to the planet to save Charlie, but it's the combined efforts of Alita, who is now in charge of the physical body after taking her male half and putting him in a mason jar on her mantle, and Doctor Strange to defeat Captain Universe Badoon. Then they all go back to their time, now having Alita on their team, and Doctor Strange flies back to Earth. But Charlie was really brutalized. Can he survive? A blood clot forms in his throat and he's choking to death. But that's okay because the next issue, issue 34, has Yellow Jacket come out of hiding to save Charlie's life to become a member of the Guardians. And Martin X calls to check up on things and decides that it's time for the Galactic Guardians and the Guardians of the Galaxy to meet up. Oh, and there's some sentient evil entity on the hull of Drydock that tries to contain the Drydock so it can complete its metamorphosis or whatever. But Alita dissolves them quickly and it darts off. Over with the Galactic Guardians, they're seeing the stars decaying before their eyes. To add on to this ham sandwich, the Sorcerer Supreme of the 31st century is caged in the Dark Dimension. Until we finally learn that all this is the work of the dread Dormammu, who demands that they give him Doctor Strange. Issue 35 is weird because it's a tale of the Galactic Guardians fighting Bubonicus, a demigod of plagues and disease who was dissolving space because everything is a disease, before meeting up with Drydock and the Guardians proper to watch them explode. Ouch. So I guess I'll just randomly say the Galactic Guardians roster right now, just for expediency later. We have the former Wonder Man, Simon Williams, as Hollywood, Firelord, the Spirit of Vengeance Ghost Rider, Replica, a Girl Skrull that we all know, and leading the group is Martin X. With all that out the way, issue 36 starts off with a bang as Drydock is destroyed by Dormammu. But luckily, all the Guardians survive to be teleported to Icarus. That's the Galactic Guardians ship. Before any reunions can happen, though, the heavy hitters, that'd be Firelord, Spirit of Vengeance, Alita, and Phoenix, all charge in at Dormammu. All that raw power is still getting fairly owned by Dormammu before Talon in a spacesuit comes out and starts casting spells to bind, or at the very least, distract Dormammu so everyone can rally. Eventually, Doctor Strange, who is the Ancient One in the year 3000-ish, does appear, only to pull a Goku and tell everyone to give him their energy so he can direct it at Dormammu, which ends with him getting a hole in his chest. Doctor Strange, not Dormammu. Long story short, the story wraps up in the next issue, now with Charlie and Yellow Jacket fighting Dormammu in the ship because apparently everyone needs to get at least one punch in on him before Krugar, the 31st century Sorcerer Supreme, comes out swinging. Talon uses his spirit to channel the Ancient One into Krugar, and they all beat Dormammu. Talon actually receives an amulet for being so magically delicious this time around, and Martin X has Krugar teleport the Galactic Guardians to Mainframe, giving the Guardians of the Galaxy the Icarus. The only thing asked of them is that they go back to Earth and check out the Commandeers and make sure they're all okay. Though we as readers already know what happened to the Commandeers and the goings-on Earth. Over the last dozen or so issues, there have been random cutaways to showing how Dr. Doom has come to restart reality TV to become ruler, bringing in Rancor and other previous villains to help. But of course, that doesn't go well, with the end of this issue being Rancor cutting out Dr. Doom's heart on live TV. But I honestly think that's a great spot to end this video. The Guardians have a new ship, Earth is back to watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians, so come back next week for the continuing adventures of a Guardians of the Galaxy team that doesn't have a happy ending.